So for this tutorial, I am going to be showing you how to make this spiral pouch belt, or you can also make it as a skirt. As you can see in this one, it has fringe coming down the side. They all have this belt, and the belt laces up on the side so that it can be adjusted. And it has this nice big pouch. Now for these belts slash skirts, I like to, you can use any kind of granny square you want. I really like to use this granny square pattern, but this is not my design. This is a skull granny square that you can find a free tutorial for on YouTube by Totally Stitchcraft. She's the one that came up with this. I like to use glow-in-the-dark yarn for the skull, and sometimes I'll add a glow-in-the-dark yarn into the spiral as well because it's just a little fun effect. But for this pattern, for this tutorial, I'm just going to be doing a regular granny square pattern. Sizing, so how you could size this differently, these all would, because they lace up, the size is adjustable. But these are on the bigger side and would probably fit a size medium, large, extra large. But if you needed to make a smaller one, I would suggest using a smaller needle. So I used, I think, a 5mm or a 6mm to make these. If you do use a smaller needle and even thinner yarn, these are maybe a 3-weight or 4-weight yarn, worsted weight. If you use a smaller yarn, smaller needle, then you're gonna have an overall smaller piece. But you can also do granny squares that aren't as big. Don't do the last row of the granny squares. I usually put 3 granny squares to a belt and then make a little area where it can lace up. If you needed it really small, you could just do 2 granny squares. That might be a little bit too small, but what you can do is add rows to each side to get it to the length that you want it to be. So there's a lot of ways you can alter the size, using a smaller hook, using smaller yarn, altering the size of the granny squares, using not as many granny squares. And then you can just, if you have the measurements of how long you need the belt to be, and just remember you want it smaller than your actual waist because you are going to have this lace up on the side. So you can make the lace much bigger and have this area wider so you can make the belt smaller. But don't make the belt any bigger than your waist because obviously you're not going to be able to tighten it more than you have the width of the belt. And again, you could just make a belt, or if you wanted to add fringe to it, again, I like to go to the thrift store and find different scarves or pants or shirts, anything really that has a nice pattern, and I'll bring it home and I'll cut it up into scraps to use to make fringe. I used a lot of my own clothes. This was a pair of pants that I had that I wasn't wearing that I cut up. But, and then you just add that into the bottom of the belt. I don't do it underneath the pouch, but you can if you wanted the skirt to go all the way around. I kind of like the pouch to not have the fringe here, but if you did want the skirt all the way around, that is possible to do as well. All right, so this is what we're going to be working on. So making a spiral crochet is a little bit difficult. You do have to be careful not to get your yarn all tangled up together. For this spiral, for the spiral for my belt, I'm using 4 different colored yarns. Hopefully this is easy to follow, but there are a lot of videos on YouTube that show you how to do a spiral crochet. I think I viewed a few of them and that's how I learned to do it. But decide what color you're going to start with and don't forget what your starting color is. So I'm gonna start with this lighter green color. You can use stitch markers as you go if you want, or you'll just have to keep a count in your head. I'm going to be starting with a magic ring. So you take the yarn, wrap it around your fingers, put the hook through and pull up. And make sure you hold on to this tail because you're gonna have to pull this tight, but we're gonna be working into this magic ring with all the different colored yarn. Okay, so I'm gonna chain 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go back into the ring with the double crochet once and twice. So I have a chain 3 space and 2 double crochets. So 3 in total in the magic ring. Now I'm gonna pull this loose and pull this up because I'm gonna come back into this later, but I wanna be careful to leave it to the side, put this to the side, and I'm gonna pick my next color. And I'm going to start with my next color, do a standing double. That means wrapping the yarn around twice, putting it into the magic ring right next to the double crochets from the other color. And I'm gonna do a standing double. So I pull through once, pull through twice. I take my tail along with me when I go. You can sew that in later if you like, but I'll wrap it around with me for the next double crochet. Again, we're gonna do 2 more double crochets. We're gonna have 3 double crochets of each color in the magic ring when we're done. Okay, so there's 3 of the light, there's 3 of the blue. I'm going to go to the dark green now. Again, wrap the yarn around my hook twice. I'm gonna do a standing double crochet into the magic ring. Wrap the yarn around twice. Okay, and I'm going to go over this tail and this tail from the other yarns, okay? You have to make sure you're going over this tail with every new color because this we're gonna pull tight and we need all of the yarn to be in there. So I'm gonna do another standing double. 1, 2, again, I take the yarn with me, but you don't have to, you can sew it in later. Wrap it around. I'm gonna do 2 more double crochets. And I'm gonna make sure to pull this up again. Remember, we wanna have a long tail here. Set that yarn to the side and go to our last color. Now this is a bulkier yarn. I like to switch up different textures and different colors, and I like this one has a little bit of sparkle in it. It will stick out a little bit more in the spiral, but that's okay. So again, standing double, wrap it around twice, and now we're going over all 3 into the magic ring, pull through, wrap it around, and 2 more double crochets. 1, 2, and pull this up. Now we have all the yarn. We're gonna take our tail from the magic ring and pull it tight. Make sure you pull it really tight. Now you can see all the different colors are on here. That's why I said remember what color you started with, because that's where we're gonna go back to at the end of every round. We're gonna be working in the round. So it's not gonna have separate rows, it's just gonna keep going around. So we go back in to the first color, pull tight, and now this round we are going right into the next color, the top of this double crochet. We're gonna do 2 double crochets in each of these 3 stitches. 2, 1, 2. And remember again, pull this out so we know where to go back into later. And then we're gonna go into our next color. Pull tight. And we're gonna repeat the same thing into the next 2 double crochets into each stitch. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and pull tight, go into the next, pull tight, and just take your time with it. Make sure you're not getting the yarn all tangled up. Okay, and 2 double crochets into the next 3 stitches. And pull up and go into your last color. Pull tight. And here I'm going to try to get all these loose ends and go around these. You can sew them in later too, but I'm going to go into the top of the first chain 3 space. It's difficult to get in there, but that's where we need to go. And 2 double crochets into the top of that chain 3 space. And now we're gonna do two double crochets into the next, and 1 more, so that we're doing 2 double crochets in the next 3 stitches. Now, if you would need to do a stitch marker because our stitches are going to change from here on out, you can put a stitch marker into where you left off on each one. For the next round, we're going back to the light green, to our first color. And now for this round, we're going to do a double crochet into the next one, 2 double crochets into the next one, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. We're going to repeat that. So 1, 2 in this one, back to 1 in the next, 2 in the next, 1 in the next, and 2 into the next one. And pull this up. And again, you're going to repeat this, and you can see how the spiral is starting to form. So you're gonna go to the next color and repeat this round. When you get back to the first color again, to continue in this pattern, the next round will be 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then on the third will be an increase. And then you'll repeat that for that round. When you come back to the next round, it'll be 3 double crochets in the next 3 stitches, and then 2 double crochets in the fourth, an increase. I do this till I get to 5. So I do 5 double crochets into each stitch with an increase on the 6th. Actually, no, I just do 4. Let me get my other. Okay, so let me go back to this piece. I like the pocket fairly big, and for this last round, it was 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 5th stitch was the increase. So once you get to that point, you can end the spiral. But you can also make, if you want a smaller pocket, don't go up to the fourth one. You can make a smaller pocket. If you want a bigger pocket, you continue with the pattern and increase on the fifth one. But I'm gonna continue with this spiral until I get a few more rounds till I'm having four double crochets and then an increase on the fifth. When I get to that round, I will come back and show you how to even it out to finish the spiral. Okay, here's our spiral so far. Now let me go over what I did again. We started with a magic ring. We went in with all 4 different yarns, 3 double crochets into the magic ring. We pulled it tight. The next round, we did 2 double crochets in the first 3 stitches in every color. The next round, we increased every other stitch. So it was a double crochet, 2 double crochets in the next. The round after that, we increased every 3rd stitch. And then this last round here, we increased every 4th stitch. So I'm back at the beginning. This is going to be the last round for the spiral pocket front. Go back in. Again, if you wanted to make this a smaller pocket, you can end the round before this. If you want to keep going and make it bigger, you can do that as well. But we're going to start back at the first color, and we're going to do 4 double crochets into the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 5th stitch, we're doing an increase. So 2 double crochets. And then again, repeat that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to do an increase here, 2 double crochets into the 5th. And again, but this time we're going to tie off. So we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next stitch, 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Then we're going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch. We're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to slip stitch into the last, and we're going to tie off here. So we're going to end this color. So pull through, pull that tight, and we're going to continue that for every color, increasing every 5th, and then for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to last 4 stitches on each. We're going to do a half double, a single, and a slip. So I'm going to come back around and then show you how I finish over here. Okay, so I have come to the last color. I've tied off all the others, and I'm going to repeat this pattern here. So I know that I'm going and to repeat this pattern 3 times. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm increasing in the 5th. So I'm doing 2 double crochets into here, and I know I'm repeating that 2 more times. So I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm doing an increase in the 5th. And I'm repeating that 1 more time, but this time we're going to decrease. So I'm going to do 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. Then now I am doing a half double crochet into the next. I'm doing a single crochet into the next, and I'm doing a slip stitch into the last. Now, instead of tying off here, what I'm going to do is chain 1, and into this where I just slip stitched, I'm going to do a single crochet. And now I'm going to single crochet around the whole piece to even it out. Well, I'm just gonna single crochet all the way around, and then I'm gonna slip stitch. I'll meet you back at the slip stitch. All right, I am all the way back around, and here is my single crochet from the previous round. So I'm just going to slip stitch into there. I'm going to tie off. And here is the front of my pouch for the spiral pouch belt skirt tutorial that I'm doing for you. Okay, I will come back in part 2 to show you how to turn this into a pocket and add the belt. Thanks.